going to give me another pet? Oh, you gave me one? Oh, everybody wants my body. I didn't get any sleep last night. I put my contact lenses in backwards, and all night long I kept staring at myself. And yeah, I had some kind of week. I went back to my hometown, Steubenville, Ohio, and thank you. And when I landed at the airport, the mayor sent a big car to get me. And I got out of the way just in time. First thing I did was visit my old neighborhood. It really brought back memories. I saw the old house I lived in. I'll never forget how small the house was. Whenever the toast popped up, we used to get crumbs on the ceiling. It was a real poor neighborhood. Anyone who paid their rent on time was held on suspicion of robbery. And I also visited visited? There's an S in visited. I also visited my old school. I tell you, the girls were so cute. It wasn't that way when I went to school. I'm not saying the girls were ugly, but the police made them use the cattle crossing. Some kind of animals. I'll tell you. I'll never forget my school days. Every day for 10 years, I'd take my dog to school. Then we separated. My dog graduated. I don't go away because there's a nice man to tell you my guests are tonight.
The Dean Martin Show, starring Ann-Margret, Bob Newhart, and Les Brown and his band of renown.
Second-hand shoes, second-hand clothes. They all call her second-hand Rose. They all think they are pretty smart, but Rose don't have a second-hand heart. I love the little girl who lives across the way. I go to see her nearly every day. When I get the money, I'll take her away so the town can gather around her and say, second-hand shoes, second-hand clothes. They all call her second-hand Rose. They all think they are pretty smart, but Rose don't have a second-hand heart. They tease her about her clothes and things. It's hard to believe some folks could be so mean. When I get the money, I'll buy her the best. I'll take a Rose, you can have all the rest. Second-hand shoes, second-hand clothes. They all call her second-hand Rose. They all think they are pretty smart. But Rose don't have a second-hand heart. Second-hand shoes, yes, second-hand clothes. They all call her second-hand Rose. They all think they are pretty smart, but Rose don't have a second-hand heart. My sweet Rose. Thank you. This kid sings, boy. If Barbra Streisand had his voice, she could have been Bert Parks. And this is a good crowd. After the show, we'll all go over to the park and chase the pigeons off the winos. We got a great show for you tonight. Bob Newhart's here and Ann-Margret. Ann-Margret is, I tell you, she is beautiful. A couple of days ago at rehearsal, I introduced her to Andy Williams, and she gave him a kiss. Not only did she melt his peace medal, But he was missing for 3 days. The police finally located him this morning in Bakersfield. They found him under a bar stool at an Orange Julius stand. He goes the whole route, you know. From time to time, we try to give new young acts a chance on our show. Tonight, we present the world's greatest escape artist, Sigmund Zabu. Now, would you explain what you're going to do?
You tie ropes, chains.
I tie ropes, chains?
You speak language, don't you?
Oh, no, I'll tie everything, right?
You tie everything I explain. Ropes, chains. First, I am Sigmund, world's greatest escape artist. We'll tie hands, make good knots.
Make good knots?
Don't make it easy on me.
Okay.
Tie hands, also body, ropes, chains.
Okay. There we are.
You in the Navy?
No, but I was in many an alley. You want chains?
Now, after tied rope chains, body, you'll step inside box.
What?
Step inside box.
You step inside of a book?
Box.
Oh, box. Oh, all right.
I'm not fooling with that. You start timer, 30 seconds, I come out, no ropes, chains.
Okay. What did he say? Ladies and gentlemen, Sigmund, the world's greatest escape artist. That was just sensational.
Thank you, Dino.
And, boy, do you look great. Why can't General Motors come out with a body like that, huh? How do you do it?
Well, actually, I owe a lot to the 5VX, you know, the Royal Canadian Air Force exercises.
Oh, I knew a girl who used to do those. She was built like a brick airport.
Seriously, Dean, you may not realize how important your body really is.
Are you kidding? I wouldn't go any place without it.
Now, for instance, I'm a dancer. What would I do if I ever let my body go?
Gee, I'd be happy to hold it for you.
Oh, don't you do any exercises, Dean?
Just elbow bends, you know.
I see.
But hey, what's so special about those, Air Force exercises? What's so, huh?
Well, the 5VX builds physical fitness gradually. Exercise is programmed so that every muscle in the body is eventually developed to its full potential. You see, with a 5VX, you do it once a day, every day for 11 minutes.
Hey, you got to be in good shape before you can even start that, huh?
Let me show you my program of exercises.
Okay.
First of all, I do like a minute of this. Then I do a couple minutes of this.
Yeah, that you
That. Then I do a little bit of this.
need. What's wrong with that?
That. And, see? I've given my whole body a workout.
Mine, too. Are you sure that this works for men, too?
Well, sure. Oh, I'll show you. Flight Lieutenant McDonald, would you show Mr. Martin the exercises, please?
Certainly, ma'am.
Thank you.
could I see a mail clerk?
Why, certainly, sir. Mr. Stubbins!
Yes, sir. Can I help you?
Mr. Stubbins? Yeah, this is kind of personal. I'm a newlywed, and I'd like to return an item I bought here.
Of course. We have lots of newlyweds returning things. What is it?
Well, like I say, it's kind of personal. You know the thing at night after the news. You brush your teeth and both of you put on your jammies. Sometimes she doesn't always wear jammies.
Yeah.
I want to return our bed.
Well, now, what kind of bed is it?
Well, you remember a couple months back you had that honeymoon special?
Yeah, that was our big seller around here.
Well, it seemed kind of romantic at the time. I don't know if you remember the slogan. It was guaranteed for 12 months or 10,000 smiles, whichever came first.
You ain't trying to tell me that you outdid the guarantee. You devil, you. That's terrific. Pardon me for asking, but what's wrong with it? I mean, that bed was tested by members of our staff for a year. They collapsed, but the bed held up. You know, just held up.
We weren't that lucky.
What's the problem? Is it too soft, too firm? Does it sag in the middle?
No.
Well, then what's wrong with it?
Well, maybe I better show you.
Well, I can't go all the way to your apartment.
Is anybody watching?
Oh, no.
Well, I brought the bed in with me.
You brought it with you, dear.
Cab driver tried to charge me extra for the... Just watch. How can a man sleep with that noise?
Well, I can understand why you're a little upset. I mean, can't have much of a honeymoon if you can't sleep.
Well, it isn't so much I can't sleep, it's the neighbors. You know, they don't know what I'm faced with.
Oh, I think they know, but listen. Don't you worry about a thing. We'll send you a brand new bed right away.
Well, if you don't mind, we kind of hate to go through all that trouble again. I brought the missus with me, and we'd like to test a new one right out here in the store. Hey, honey, you want to come out here a second? This little woman here.
Hi.
Oh, hi, little woman.
Hi there.
Actually, this is against our company policy, you know. But perhaps we could make an exception. It's been a slow day, you know. An exception. Here's our king-size double super sleeper. Why don't you give it a whirl?
Can I?
Oh.
Okay.
That'll be just fine if she likes it. We'll take 40 of those.
All right. You'll take 40 of them. Now, 40 you'll take? Isn't that a little ambitious, sir? She didn't mean to hurt your purse.
Me and the missus were going to open a motel, and these would be just... Didn't you once work at a department store? I returned a toupee one time.
Yes, I was...
Here's my card. Why don't you drop by sometime?
Oh, well, gee whiz. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Bye.
You're welcome. Never know when this'll come in handy.
what I call a proud bird with a golden...
Yes, sir.
That's Adolf Hitler sitting next to me. Don't stare at him. Don't stare at him. He'll notice us. I'll keep him occupied. You go up and tell the pilot to turn the plane around.
Yes, sir.
Hi, hi. You going to New York, are you? I was in St. Louis. Army reunion, all the guys from World War II. we were all conscientious objectors. We didn't care who won.
You know, you look familiar.
I look familiar. Well, a lot of people think I look like Richard Widmark. You know, sometimes at parties I'll do that laugh, you know. He does.
Hey, that's good. You know, a lot of people mistake me for somebody.
Mistake you for somebody. Who would that be?
Adolf Hitler?
Adolf Hitler. I can't see the resemblance, you know. A little mustache, maybe. This has to do with inventions and how it takes like 40 or 50 years before an invention is really recognized as being a great invention. When they first come out, no one recognizes what an advancement they are, like the telephone or the electric light or the airplane. They were thought of as rich man's playthings when they first came out. And also the tobacco industry. Today, as you know, is a multi-billion-dollar business, but came to us from very humble beginnings. It was brought to the attention of civilization by Sir Walter Raleigh, who was working for the West Indies Company here in the colonies. And the uses of tobacco are not obvious right off the bat. If you tried to explain tobacco to someone who was not familiar with it, it would not be an easy task. So I imagined a phone conversation between Sir Walter Raleigh and the head of the West Indies Company in London, England, and I imagine it went something like this. Who is it, Mary? Sir Walter Raleigh from the colonies, huh? yeah. Put him on, would you, Mary? Harry, you want to pick up your extension? Yeah, it's Nutty Wall again. Yeah. Well, hi, Wall guy. Well, it's great hearing your voice again. It sure is, Walt. Things are fine here in England, Walt. Did the what? Did the boatload of turkeys arrive all right? Yeah, they arrived fine, Walt. They're still here, as a matter of fact, Walt. They're wandering all over London, as a matter of fact. See, that's only an American holiday, Walt. Right, you have another one, another winner for us, do you, Walt? Tobacco. What is tobacco, Walt? That's a sort of leaf. And you bought 80 tons of it. Let me just make sure I have this right now, Walt. You're sending us 80 tons of leaves. Is that right, Walt? Walt, this may come as a little bit of a surprise to you. See, come fall here in England, Walt. Yeah, we're sort of up to our. It isn't that sort of leaf. It has a lot of different uses. What are some of the uses, Walt? Since we are getting 80 tons of this stuff. Walt, are you saying snuff? What is snuff, Walt? You take a pinch of tobacco and you shove it up your nose, Walt. and it makes you sneeze. Huh? Yeah, I guess it would at that, wouldn't it, Walt? Gee, a goldenrod seems to do it pretty well here, Walt.
Walt, does this tobacco have any other uses? You know, just on the off chance that this snuff didn't catch on right off the bat. you can chew it, or put it in a pipe, or you can shred it up, put it on a piece of paper, roll up the piece of paper. Don't tell me, Walt. Yes, you stick it in your ear, right, Walt? Between your lips, Walt. Then what do you do to Walt? It's a fucker to it, huh, Walt? You know, we've been a little worried about you, Walt. Ever since you put your cape down over all that mud, Walt. A lot of people have a cigarette right after their first cup of coffee in the morning. Walt, I'm almost afraid to ask, Walt. What's coffee, Walt? That's a drink you pound out of beans, eh, Walt? I'll tell you what, Walt. Why not send us a boatload of those beans, Walt? I mean, if you can sell people on sticking burning leaves in their mouths, they got to go for those beans, Walt. No question about it. Well, nice talking to you, Walt. And listen, Walt, next time, don't call us. We'll call you. Right.
You know, it must have taken a lot of courage for the first man to go up in space in a rocket. And I imagine years ago, there must have been a lot of other things that took a lot of courage, too. For instance, somebody had to be the first man to ever go up in an elevator. And I'd like to show you what it must have been like. All right, all systems are go. Chalmers, we're at T-5 and counting.
Well, this has got to be a big moment for you, Dr. Kittinger. The first manned elevator flight.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone connected with the Otis One project, particularly the people here at Elevator Control. I'd also like to thank Macy's for the use of the building.
You really think this elevator will go up to the 14th floor?
Well, it worked with stairs. Now, there were a number of people who doubted that.
Well, let me see. Now, what was the big breakthrough in the elevator program?
Well, I think when we were able to make it go up and down instead of sideways.
Yeah, I hate that feeling. It must take a lot of power to get it up.
Is that right?
Yes. Oh, it must.
Oh, yes. We use... Would it help if they printed it on my outfit? We're using 28,000 pounds of thrust just for the basic liftoff. You see, the basic propulsion mechanism is remarkably simple. It's a series of cables and pulleys attached to a crank.
Oh, what turns the crank? What turns that crank?
A gorilla on the roof.
Gorilla on the roof?
Yes. He was a key factor in the V2 elevator program during the war.
Wasn't he with the Germans?
Yes, but he hated Hitler as much as we did.
Can you explain how it actually works?
Well, it's really quite sophisticated and a bit difficult to put in layman's terms. It all centers around this control console over here.
You mean that button on the wall?
That's very good. This is the up button. You press it and the elevator goes to the top of the building.
How do you get it down?
Well, you take the stairs.
Why don't you take the elevator down?
Make a note of that, Chalmers.
How do you stay in touch with the elevator pilot?
Well, the operator, or Elenaut, as we call him, is constantly... Who? Elenaut? Elenaut. Is constantly in touch through an ingenious tracking system, and we can tell exactly where he is at any given moment. We have technical people at various points along the route who are trained to shout out the number of the floor as a vehicle passes. They're called floor screamers.
How safe is the flight?
I'm glad you asked that. The only real danger might come around the 9th floor. We don't know for sure, but we suspect some radiation.
Well, what can the operator do to protect himself?
Step to the rear of the car.
Dr. Skinner, how come this program is costing so much?
Well, the original budget for Otis 1 was $9 million. We brought it in for 3.
What happened to the other $6 million?
We had a party for the staff.
That's a pretty expensive party.
Well, there was a lot of breakage because of the gorilla. But it really wouldn't have been much of a party without him. He does such a great impression of Tom Jones, he really breaks it.
Well, I guess it's time to blast off.
I guess it is. Chalmers, do we have ignition? Yeah, you want to press the button, fella?
Just press
Press
the button, the uppy?
the up button.
Next car.
Thank you. You can bring the luggage up later.
Doctor, Mr. Clemens is here to see you again.
Clemens?
Yes, yes.
That name sounds familiar.
Yes, he's the one that thinks he's always being followed.
Oh, yes, that weirdo. Well, send him in. Yes.
Mr. Clemens, you can come in now.
Thank you.
Well, here we are, Eloise, man and wife, our honeymoon night at last.
Yes. Well, Ralph, there's something I've been meaning to talk to you about.
Well, what is it, sweetheart?
Too many marriages today are ruined by physical problems, you know, and I just don't want that to happen to us, so I think there should be absolutely no love in our marriage.
No love? Gee, I don't know.
Believe me, darling, it's for our own good. If we keep our marriage platonic, we'll be much happier.
Well, all right, let's shake on it.
Oh, not tonight, darling. I have such a headache. Officer! This man stole my purse!
He stole your purse?
Yes.
I never even touched her purse.
Yeah, that's what you say. What's your name?
Charlie Harris?
You have an identification?
Yeah. I think I have something. She took my purse away, and I sure want to thank all my wonderful guests tonight for joining us. There's no R in joining. Oh, boy. And I hope you'll all be back with us next week. We're going to have some great talent on the show. And don't you forget to look on. And in the meantime, you just keep all them cards and letters coming in, folk. And this week, I sure want to thank that sweet lady from Encino who sent me those opera glasses. Only one trouble. They spill more than they hold. Everybody loves the... Don't you think? Sometimes,